Hi children, welcome back to our political science class. Today in our class we are going to discuss a new chapter in political science, that is second chapter, federalism. Let's see what is the definition of federalism. Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between the central authority and various constituent units of the country. So, what do you mean by this? We understand that the power is divided between the central government and state government and the local government. Here they have mentioned various constituent units of the country. It means the state and local governments. So the power is shared among the central, state and local governments. That's called various constituent units of the country. Now, basically federalism has two systems. Federalism has two systems. They are unitary system and federal system. Unitary system and federal system. Let's see the differences between the unitary system and the federal system. In a unitary system, there is only one level of government. It means it has only central government which is supreme. The central government may create administration divisions and such units exercise only the powers that is central government has chosen to delegate. So it means the central government choose some units only to delegate the powers. Which powers? Administrative powers. On the other hand, in the federal system, where we have more than one level of government, as we have seen, it can be central, state and local governments. So the power is divided in the levels, one or more levels of the government. Okay. Now second, in the unitary system, the central government can order the local government because the central government is the supreme. That's why it can order the local governments. But on the other hand, in the federal system, the central government does not order the local governments because the local government and the central government, both of them are independent each other. Third, there is no power to the local governments and the local governments will just do work that is delegated by the central government. It means the local governments has no power because those powers were given by the central government only to delegate the work. That's why they don't have any authority or any power on the central government. But here in the federal system, the state government have their own power. Here the state government is independent. It can take the decisions which are related to the state government by their own. Fourth, in a unitary system, all the other local governments are answerable to the central government. I repeat, in a unitary system, all the other local governments are answerable to local government. But whereas in the federal system, the state government is not answerable to the central government, but both the state as well as the central government are answerable to the people of the country. I repeat children, the central government, the state government is not answerable to the central government, but both the state as well as central government are answerable to the people of the country because the central government representatives and the state government representatives are elected by the people of the country. That's why both of them are not answerable to each other, but they are answerable to the people of the country. So children, these are the differences between the unitary and federal systems. Here you can see the countries who follow unitary system and federal system. The blue color indicates the unitary system and the green color indicates the federal system. Now let's learn the key features of federal system. There are two or more levels of the government. In the federal system, the first and most important point is there are two or more levels of government. So levels of government, when I say levels of government, Then there it is central, state and local governments. In the federal system, the levels of government contain central, state and local government. So central government at central level, state government at state level and local government at local level. And we shall learn about them in detail. Second, different governments govern the same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. When I say jurisdiction, it refers to their area where they can exercise their power. What's the meaning of jurisdiction, children? It refers to the area where they live or where they can exercise their power, where they have their power. It's called the jurisdiction. For example, if I take myself only example, I live in Kakinada and I come under the jurisdiction of central government because Kakinada is a part of central government. And then I also come under the state government of AP because the Kakinada is also part of AP. So I come under central government jurisdiction and state government jurisdiction. That's why different government govern the same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. Third, the jurisdiction of the respective levels of the government are specified in the Constitution. For example, the jurisdictions, it means the powers, the area of their powers in the area are given in the Constitution respectively. So state government has some powers and central government has some powers. It is mentioned clearly in the Constitution. Now, can we bring any changes in the Constitution? Yes. The answer is the fundamental provisions of the Constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. The fundamental provisions or the fundamental things which are mentioned in the Constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. When I say unilaterally, it means one person or one group or country involved in a situation without the agreement of others that cannot change the Constitution. You got the point? Any one person or any one group or the one country involved in a situation without the agreement of others. We should not take the consent of the others and cannot change the Constitution. So it means all of them, they sit together and they discuss and they can change, but any single person or single group cannot change the Constitution. Now, fifth, on the other hand, we have the highest court which acts as the umpire. If there are disputes that arise between the different levels of government. I repeat, children, we have the highest court which acts as the umpire if there are disputes that arise between the different levels of government. For instance, if there is a dispute between the state government and central government, then the matter will go to the Supreme Court because it is the highest court in the country. And if there is a dispute between the two state governments, for example, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, so the dispute between the two states, that also will go to the Supreme Court. Sometimes, if any dispute between two states, for example, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka on one side and central government on the other side, even then that matter goes to the Supreme Court. Now, in this way, the Constitution ensures its financial autonomy to all levels of government. The Constitution ensures its financial autonomy to all levels of the government. When I say financial autonomy, means it is a financial independent. Our country is a financially independent, and this is ensured in Constitution. Okay, in a federal system, the good thing is that it safeguard and promote unity. In federal system, it safeguards and promote unity. And second thing is, it also accommodates regional diversity. Regional diversity in the sense there are diversity in the regional level, local level and state level, central level also, any level. Because when I say diversity, in India, there are many diversities in religion, language, customs, traditions, and many other things. So that's all for today, children. Thank you.